Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video. Today we are finally back here in Aurora Falls. It took me a while. I just need to take a break from the game after all of the issues with trains just derailing randomly. I can deal with stuff like that for a while, but eventually at some point it gets too annoying and then I just rather play something else for a while. But we are back and another update has happened in the meantime. Something loading screens, but the main thing that I really care about here is that performance has been improved. And actually quite significantly, especially on my MIA playthrough. So my old main playthrough, which I've kinda given up on a while ago, partially because of all the issues with industry supplies and supply wasting and all of that. On this playthrough I've just gone around that by sometimes putting it into easy mode so that I get double the output in order to just counteract half of the supplies being wasted if one of the outputs is full. And I think that's how I'm gonna have to be dealing with the entire thing going forward. It's a bit of a shame, but anyways, the main thing I want to talk about here is that MIA is working again. It's better than ever, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to that and playing some more. I've actually already started building stuff there, and the question then is, where does it leave this playthrough here? I know I have a few skeletons in my closet when it comes to the playthroughs that I've kind of just abandoned. I don't want to do the same thing here, so I'm gonna take a page out of Kerbo's book. So Kerbo is another YouTuber who's also playing Railroads online. Recently started his, I think, 5th or 6th season. And he did a very smart thing there by just giving that season a goal. So he wants to go to a particular industry, and from that point on, maybe he would continue, but that would be a good point to just jump off and call it finished. And I'm gonna be doing the same here. And my goal for this playthrough is going to be getting to the meatpacking plant and bringing in some meat from there to the freight depot. So I'm partially already getting there in terms of some of the stuff that I need to do. We have a lot of cows at the cattle farm, so that's one of the required supplies here. The coal is gonna be a bit more work because, well, the coal mine isn't even connected yet. And the last thing that I did really with the original industry chain was getting to the iron ore mine, which still needs any supplies to begin with, so that would be the next thing to do. I also would need to bring the iron ore over to the smelter down here. First up, I need hoppers for that. Currently have no way of really transporting the iron ore. And I would also need to make a connection to the platform over here. The lazy way would be just taking the iron ore over to the cattle farm, past my main yard, into the center of the map, following this little squiggly line, and coming up here to the track that's really mainly meant for the cordwood, because that's mostly already existing. This would need to have another switch over there, and then I could just bring everything over here. I think what I want to do is I want to start a new track from here, so put a switch into the existing track and then just follow the side of a mountain and come in from the back side. There's gonna be a more straightforward connection once that's all implemented. And in the end, I think that's gonna be the more proper way of handling things. I don't necessarily plan on making any more complex yards or anything. I'm gonna be going with stuff that just works, and that should be alright. But everything else still just kinda remains to be seen. Of course, I will also need to make a connection to this platform here, where we can actually load the rails on the cars, which we are going to be having to deliver to the coal mine. So that's gonna be another thing. I think that's just gonna be a straight line from here and going over this river and on the other side making a connection and then going from there. But I think before I do anything here, I'll just have to go over to the coal mine. Let's just get there right now because I'm not sure if I even showed this entire thing yet. The coal mine is on the side of a central mountain in this area. It's a bit further up than anything else that I have here, so figuring out a good way down will be a bit of work, but it should be quite alright. Of course, it needs both beams and rails, so we need a connection to both the smelter and the sawmill, which is further in that direction. Smelter is somewhere up there. And yeah, from here on we could just go and bring the coal straight over to the meatpacking plant. I'm thinking of maybe having like a fast track going down here and just pushing the loaded hoppers over the edge and then riding them down here without any engine, connecting an engine further down in this valley and then taking it back up the other side over to the meatpacking plant. I think that could be quite fun. Would save me from having to bring up an engine to the coal mine just to collect the hoppers. And I think that would be a good way of handling things and definitely a fun one. So yeah, the main point right now, the main problem is that I still need a bit more money in order to buy any hoppers to begin with. And you know what? Ideally, I would like to have separate hoppers for the coal than for the iron ore. Not entirely sure if that's gonna work out. The hoppers are very expensive, especially in this stage of the game. So I might have to share them, but I also don't just want to go and kind of mess up everything just because I now have a limited amount of stuff that I still need to do. I could basically just take cars from other industries and just use them for whatever right now and then have them stand around wherever, just really messing things up to be a bit quicker. I don't think I'll necessarily be going back to this save after I have done what I set out to do here, but I also don't want to just completely ruin everything, mess it up and make it so that if I ever come back here I would have to start out by cleaning up a lot of things. So while I may need to share the hoppers between the two mines, I'm likely not gonna be doing much else with car sharing and all of that. I think I want separate cars for certain different other things on the map here. Anyways, let's talk about what we would be doing with the hoppers now. I don't know if I ever showed this before. It's been a while since the last Railroads Online video. But coming up here to the part where I could also go straight into my yard, I put down a Y. And why did I do that? Basically, I have this section over here in my yard where basically I can store a lot of the shorter trains, which right now is pretty much everything that I have. But since these are not pass-through tracks, but they actually have a stop by at the end, I need to put everything that I want to store here in reverse. So I can't go in here with the engine first because then the engine is gonna be stuck. And turning around the entire train is way more convenient doing so with a Y right here, instead of having to go through the entire yard, coming to the cattle farm using that loop and then turning around with that. So that just makes everything a bit more convenient. The Y itself is a bit larger than I would like it to be, but in the end, with how the terrain works out, especially with height difference here, well, something needed to give, and yeah, just ended up going with a larger layout than I would otherwise have liked. But this also means that I at least already have a decent connection towards the meatpacking plant. Still need to connect this, so just having a wide turn going around the back here, a switch somewhere around there, and then just going to either side of the of the industry should be alright. Nothing too crazy, but should be doing its job and should be working out as good as it needs to. I don't plan on getting any helper engines on this playthrough. That would be way more of an investment that I'm happy to make right now. And I think the last thing that I really need to show you guys here is what I've done to the wheat farm in the meantime. There are a few more sidings here for additional cars, and well, on this siding we just have a few bulkhead cars and also the box cars. These are of course for the produce coming out of the wheat farm. 5 box cars and 4 bulkhead cars actually mean that I can get 60 grain and 60 straw bales, which is pretty helpful since the ratio of these items are being used at the cattle farm are also 1-to-1. So that's working out perfectly well. And this is another point that I was talking about when it came to not trying to mess up things too much. The bulkhead cars over here, of course, could be used for cordwood deliveries to the smelter, but I don't really want to use that. I would rather buy separate bulkhead cars for that and for just general purpose use. Otherwise, I would have to remove them from over here, bring them over to the other place, and yeah, if I ever do come back and want to do a bit more with a wheat farm, then I would have to bring them over again and all of that. Not really what I'm all about right here. On the other side, we of course have the inputs for the farm, and this is one of my major regrets. Very shortly before I came to the conclusion that I really only want to do a bit of meatpacking plant stuff, I bought all of these water tank cars, and they are expensive. So yeah, I got them. I initially even wanted to expand this entire thing a bit further, having some rolling storage for the water over here, and only ever needing to bring in more seed pellets every now and again. For which I'm, by the way, actually using the boxcars over here, which is also the reason why the boxcars come first. If this was strictly for the output, I would likely start and mixing them up. So it would be boxcar, bulkhead car, boxcar, and so on and so forth. Just alternating between them to make things look nice. But yeah, if I need to bring over more seed pellets, I just grab the 5 boxcars, bring them over to the freight depot, and then come back with them loaded. Put them back there, nothing really too complicated. But for the water cars, I just wanted a bit more storage over here. And since everything at the water well is very easy to load up with a triple setup there. This would have worked out if it wasn't for the amount of money involved here, and I kinda wish I could get the money back because I don't really need them anymore. Also, eventually I came to the conclusion that this entire farm setup here, the wheat farm as a whole, I don't enjoy it that much. It's okay for a bit. I liked using this as a starter, especially with the additional cars that I provided for myself here. But in the end, it's something that I'm more than happy to just move on from. So yeah, I don't see myself using that again. Also for the whole output stuff, with how industries have been broken for a while, and with how the devs eventually got a fix that was worse than the broken version, only to then sell us the broken version again as a fix for that. I don't think it's gonna be fixed anytime soon. And whenever I get to a point like this where all the outputs are filled up and there's still a bit of stuff at the input side, so it would keep producing if I take anything out of here, I usually just end up setting the industry difficulty to easy and yeah, just kind of counteract everything like that. So that's how I'm dealing with all of the stuff right here, right now. But once again, I wouldn't mind having to not deal with the wheat farm anytime soon again. Even just the, where is it, the cattle farm up here. Nothing too drastic has changed around here, but I noticed that my boxcars actually got stuck on the pipe over here. I mean, can I delete this? Can we see it, what I mean, if I don't delete it? I mean, I don't need to save, I haven't done anything here. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna quickly delete it to make a point and show you what I mean. So this is now all the track removed around here. And if we now lay out more track, we can actually see the connection points to the different platforms here. So the ones over here are to the grain grate, over here to the water tank thingy, and right here to the straw platform. Do you notice just how much out of sync those are? I mean, let me just connect them to the ends right here so we can actually see it a bit more clearer. That's really snapping it to the pre-made connections over here. And if we look down the track now, yeah, that's definitely not lining up. The water tank would need to be pushed in a bit further, and when I placed all my stuff as I decided to do, I ended up, despite there not being any obvious collisions in terms of a model, apparently the stuff still touched in game with its hitboxes and all of it, so that didn't work out. And yeah, the platforms at the end, they are not lining up either. For comparison, let's take a look at what my actual connection looked like. So this is a bit further out than this one right here. It might actually line up with straw bale part. Apparently not. It's a bit further in than the straw bale part. So yeah, mine is kind of like the average between them. A bit closer to the platform than the grain connection by default. Way closer than the water well, but a bit further away than the grain here. So straw bale, close ahead and all of that, but yeah. So that's a mess that I don't really want to do to deal with anymore, and also since the connection points, the snapping points here are always there, it's kind of annoying dealing with that. While I like the option to use them, I wish we could also turn them off, because when I want to lay out my own stuff, these really get in the way and they are not very well made. So yeah, that much I can tell you guys about all of this stuff here. And the kink that I had in here was a bit exaggerated on purpose, but I kinda got a bit tired of it. Even put down a sign. I mean, that part really sucked. And hey, that's something that you have to deal with in a lot of cases with this game. So yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, that's gonna be the end for me for this video. One thing that I would like to also point out is that I already started playing on MIA again, so it will not be straight up all the episodes until I get my goal in this one. I'll be likely mixing it up a little. Should be obvious enough once we switch between them. The other one is on a different map and has way more going on, and yeah, I'll be coming back to this every now and again and just trying to work towards the meatpacking plant. But yeah, we'll see about all of that. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and have a good one. Bye bye.